Some hearts are tired, not because they're weak, but because they've been speaking to the wrong audience. You've explained yourself to people who didn't care. You've cried to people who couldn't understand. You've stayed quiet in rooms where your soul was screaming. But what if I told you, you were never meant to pour your heart into this noisy world. You were meant to pour your silence into sujood. You were meant to whisper your pain to the one who already knows it. Because Allah As-Sami hears your heartbreak even when you don't say a single word. He hears the dua inside your silence. He sees the battle behind your smile, and He never misunderstands you. Let your tears fall in sujood. Let your silence rise in dua. Let the heart speak to Allah, not the world. Your heart was made for sujood, not stress. Your heart is not a storage unit for stress. It's not a container for everyone's opinions, judgments, rejections, and noise. Allah didn't create your heart to chase validation. He didn't design it to be tossed between people's moods, texts, approvals, or betrayals. He created your heart for something much greater. He created it for sujood, for remembrance, for peace, for connection with Him, not with the chaos of the world. Because every time you let people's words enter your heart too deeply, you lose a piece of yourself. But every time you fall into sujood, you find what the world could never give you. Real calm, real strength, real healing. Look at what stress does to us. We overthink. We cry when no one sees. We feel empty in rooms full of people. And still, we scroll, we post, we rant, hoping someone will finally understand. But peace doesn't come from venting to strangers. Peace comes from whispering your pain to the one who wrote your story. The next time your heart feels like it's carrying too much, don't scroll, don't overthink, don't call 5 people. Just stop, make wudu, stand before your Lord, and let your forehead touch the ground. Even if all you say is, Ya Allah, I don't know what to do. That is enough, because the ground is where your soul rises. The sajda is where your burdens fall, and the one who hears your silent pain is never far from you. So remind your heart, it was never meant to live in stress. It was meant to live in remembrance. And when the world becomes too loud, let sujood become your sanctuary. The world wants noise, but Allah loves sincerity. The world rewards those who shout the loudest. Post more, say more, defend more, prove yourself. People are constantly speaking, but very few are truly being heard. Because in a world full of noise, real sincerity gets drowned out. But Allah, He doesn't need your volume. He's not waiting for a perfect speech. He's not impressed by hashtags or long captions. He looks deeper. He looks into your heart. You could make one quiet, sincere dua in the middle of the night with no words, just tears. And it could reach the arsh of Allah faster than 1,000 public posts ever could. Because He doesn't judge by how loud your voice is. He judges by how soft your heart is when it turns to Him. Let the world chase noise. Let them talk over each other trying to be seen. But you let your soul stay still. Let your sincerity speak louder than any argument. Maybe you stayed silent when someone hurt you. Maybe you forgave quietly while no one noticed. Maybe you walked away from drama even though you had the perfect comeback ready. And maybe they thought you were weak. But Allah knew. He saw your restraint. He saw your patience. He heard the dua you didn't say out loud. And He loved it. You weren't silent because you didn't know what to say. You were silent because you knew Allah already understood what you were feeling. And that is sincerity. So let the world misunderstand. Let them talk. You don't need to scream when your heart whispers to the one who hears everything. Because what matters in the sight of Allah isn't how loud you are. It's how sincere you are. And the more sincere your heart becomes, the more peaceful your life will feel. Sujood is where you say everything without saying a word. There are moments in life where words fail you. You sit quietly, not because you have nothing to say, but because your heart is carrying more than your tongue can handle. And in those moments, when your chest feels heavy, when your eyes well up, when your mind is full but your mouth is silent, there is one place that understands you without needing an explanation. Sujood. When your forehead touches the ground, you're not just bowing your body. You're lowering your pride, your pain, your confusion, everything you don't know how to say. Sujood is not just a position. It's a place of surrender, a place of release, a place where your soul finally breathes. You don't need perfect Arabic. You don't need long du'as. You don't even need to speak. Just cry, just whisper, just breathe out the pain. Because Allah understands the language of your silence. You could lie awake at night, your heart beating fast with anxiety, and all you manage to say in sujood is, Ya Allah, help me, and that is enough. He doesn't need your eloquence. He doesn't need your grammar. He just wants your heart to turn to Him fully. Every tear that falls in sujood is a word your heart couldn't say. Every breath you take in sujood is a silent dua going straight to the heavens. Every second you stay down is a moment of your soul rising closer to the one who created it. Sujood is where, in tek, your confusion finds clarity. In tek, your heartbreak meets healing. In tek, your loneliness turns into closeness with Allah. In tek, and your silence becomes your most powerful prayer. In tek, don't underestimate those quiet sajdas when no one else is watching, because Allah is watching. And what you give Him in secret, He will return to you in ways you never imagined. So, when you don't know what to say to people, say everything to Allah in sujood. And remember, sometimes the loudest prayer is the one made in complete silence. Not everyone deserves to know your story. There are parts of your story that are sacred, not because they are secrets, but because they're too personal, too painful, too meaningful to be placed in the hands of people who won't value them. Not everyone deserves access to your wounds. Not everyone deserves to hear the details of what broke you. Because some people listen just to judge, some listen to gossip, and some will twist your truth into something it never was. So guard your story, protect your pain. You don't need to explain your heartbreak to those who would mock it. You don't need to unpack your sadness in front of those who only want to measure it. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is say nothing to the world and say everything to Allah. Because Allah never mishears you. He never interrupts you. He never uses your vulnerability against you. He listens with full knowledge of what happened before, what you're feeling now, and what's coming next. The people around you, they see only one chapter. Allah sees the entire book. So when your heart is heavy, don't run to someone who doesn't understand the weight. Run to the one who created your heart in the first place and speak to Him. Even if all you can do is cry, even if your dua is just silence and tears, even if you don't have the words, that's still a conversation, that's still a prayer. That's still being heard by the one who listens to what's never even spoken. Some of the most powerful du'as are made in the quietest moments. Not in public, not with people, but alone when no one sees you except your Lord. So let the world wonder. Let them misunderstand you. Let them assume things about you that aren't true. You're not responsible for making everyone understand your heart. You're only responsible for giving that heart back to the one who made it. Because not everyone deserves to know your story, but Allah already does. And that's more than enough. They misjudged you? Allah didn't. There are few pains deeper than being misjudged. You did your best. You were kind. You stayed quiet. You walked away when you could have fought back. You forgave when you could have exposed. You prayed for people who never even said thank you. And yet, they called you fake. They accused your silence of being guilt. They took your calmness as pride. They twisted your goodness into something it never was. That hurts. It hurts to be seen wrongly, to be judged by people who don't know your heart, to be misunderstood in moments you needed the most understanding. But here's the truth that will protect your peace. They misjudged you, but Allah didn't. Allah knows the nights you cried silently. He knows the times you bit your tongue to protect someone else's dignity. He knows the battles you fought internally just to remain patient. And He knows you were trying. The world often gets it wrong. But Allah always sees the truth. And what He sees is what truly matters. They don't know your intentions. They don't know your sacrifices. They don't know how hard it was to smile when your heart was breaking. But Allah knows every detail. So let them talk. Let them assume. Let them believe what they want. Because you weren't created for their approval. You were created for Allah's pleasure. And the reward for your silence, your sabr, your integrity is being written by the one whose mercy has no limits. So don't waste time explaining yourself to people who already chose not to understand you. Don't give away your peace trying to fix what Allah will fix for you in His time, in His way. Keep doing good. Keep being sincere. Keep your heart clean. And when it feels unfair, say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is enough for me. He will take care of it. Because He always does. He always sees. And He always defends the hearts that stay quiet for His sake. They misjudged you, but Allah didn't, and He never will. Private worship builds public peace. Not everything sacred is seen. Some of the most powerful acts of worship are the ones no one ever knows about. The quiet tears you wipe before Fajr, the long sujood you make when the world is asleep, the whispered du'as you carry in your heart all day long. No likes, no applause, no witnesses, just you and Allah. And that's where real peace begins, in secret. Because the heart was never meant to feel calm through public praise. It was created to feel calm in private moments with its Creator. You see, public peace, that quiet confidence, that emotional stability, that spiritual clarity, it doesn't come from loud reminders or online posts. It comes from the hidden relationship you build with Allah when no one's watching. When you turn to Him in your loneliness, when you open the Quran not for photos but for answers, when you make dua not to be seen but because your soul is desperate to be heard, that's when your worship becomes healing. That's when your heart starts to change. That's when you stop needing the world to understand you because you're already understood by the one who matters. People may not see the sins you're avoiding, the temptations you're fighting, the effort you're putting in just to stay on the path, but Allah sees every bit of it. And He strengthens you quietly, gently, consistently through your private connection with Him. Even if your salah is a struggle, even if your dua is broken, even if your voice trembles when you recite, Allah still welcomes it. Because He looks at your effort, not your perfection. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever remembers Allah in secret, his eyes filled with tears, will be shaded by Allah on the day when there is no shade but His. That's not public worship. That's not a Friday khutbah or a viral video. That's just you remembering Him alone and sincerely. So don't underestimate your private worship. That hidden dhikr while you're driving, that quiet istighfar before sleep, that one sincere sajda you made during a low point in life, these are the things building your peace. These are the things anchoring your soul. These are the deeds weighing heavily on your scale, even if no one sees them but Allah. Because when your private life is sincere, your public life becomes peaceful. And that's the kind of peace this world can't take away. Allah understands what you don't know how to express. Sometimes your heart feels so heavy, your thoughts so tangled, your emotions so loud, and yet you still can't find the words. You sit there in silence, not because you have nothing to say, but because you don't know how to say it. You try to make dua, but the pain chokes your voice. You try to speak, but the tears come before the words. And in that moment, when your soul is full, but your tongue is quiet, remember this truth. Allah understands. Even when you don't know how to speak, He still hears you completely. He hears the dua in your sigh. He sees the storm behind your smile. He knows the battles behind your silence, because you're not just speaking to anyone, you're speaking to Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, to As-Sami', the all-hearing, to the one who created your heart and understands every crack inside it. Some of the most powerful prayers are the ones that never leave your lips. In tank, a tear rolling down your cheek while making wudu. In tank, a pause during sujood while your chest aches. In tank, a glance toward the sky when you're too tired to speak. In tank, that is still dua. Because your Lord is not like His creation. He doesn't need words to know what you need. He doesn't need eloquence to respond. He just needs sincerity. Even if all you say is, Ya Allah, I'm tired, that's enough. Even if all you can do is cry, that tear is a message, that breath is a plea, that silence is a language only Allah fully understands. So never feel distant from Allah just because you can't explain your emotions. He is closer than your words. He is closer than your heartbeat. He is closer than anyone who ever said, I'm here for you. Because He's not just listening to what you say, He's listening to what your heart wants to say but can't. Let your silence be your dua. Let your brokenness be your offering. Let your confusion be your conversation with the one who never misunderstands you. And when you can't speak, just be present. Just be sincere. Just be real with Allah. Because even when you say nothing, He already knows everything. Let the world talk. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them misread your calm. Let them assume whatever they want about your journey. Because you weren't created to explain your heart to everyone. You were created to give that heart to Allah fully, sincerely, quietly. You don't need loud words to be heard. You don't need perfect du'as to be accepted. You don't need people's validation to feel seen. You just need to turn inward and let your heart speak to the one who has never stopped listening. He knows what you've held in. He knows what you've forgiven without apology. He knows what you're praying for even when you can't say it out loud. And He responds, not because your voice was loud, but because your heart was sincere. So protect your peace. Guard your worship. Preserve your silence. And never feel the need to explain yourself to a world that didn't create you. Because when Allah understands you, that is more than enough. Let the heart speak to Him. Let the soul rest in Him. And let your life reflect the quiet strength of someone whose peace comes from knowing Allah is enough. Ameen.